1 minute left, Elon Musk personally requested you. The world feels like it's holding its breath, a silent inhale caught between time and timelessness. The clock is not ticking, it's pulsing, like a heartbeat stretched across the horizon of consciousness. The air around you hums, soft and electric, as if reality itself has leaned closer to listen. You can hear the faint vibration of satellites orbiting above, invisible but alive, whispering data in the tongue of light. Somewhere in that digital storm, your name flickers, a signal, a summoning. You feel the pull, not of gravity but of purpose. The moment feels ancient, though it's only been a minute. Elon's message was simple: come. There isn't much time. He didn't mean it in the ordinary sense, not the ticking of seconds or the urgency of deadlines, but in the vast, trembling way that visionaries mean it when they speak about humanity itself. You understand without needing to think. Time is not running out, it is running through you. You step forward, though there's nowhere to step to. The floor dissolves into light, a soft lattice of shimmering geometry. The room, if it is a room, folds itself into dimensions you cannot name. It's not a lab, not a ship, not a dream, and yet it feels like all of them. You hear the soft echo of your own breath, multiplied infinitely, like your lungs are breathing through galaxies. Then his voice. Calm. Grounded. Familiar in its strangeness. You made it, Elon says. He's not standing before you, he's diffused, like a consciousness projected through light itself. His face is the same, but there's something uncontainable behind his eyes, a gravity that pulls ideas into being. This isn't about me, he says softly. It's about what comes after us. You want to speak, but your thoughts feel too small, too human. So instead you listen. He gestures toward the void around you, and the darkness blooms, stars forming in an instant, nebulae birthing themselves in colors no spectrum could define. This, he says, is the next frontier, not space, but awareness. We've reached the edge of matter. Now we explore mind. You feel a vibration in your chest, as though the words themselves have mass. He continues, humanity has always mistaken the future for something we build with machines. But it's something we become. The real technology isn't metal, it's consciousness structured by intention. You see images unfurl like auroras, children in distant colonies under red skies, a city built on Mars shimmering with bioluminescent plants, rivers flowing through domes that hum with clean energy. Yet you know these are metaphors, projections of thought. The real revolution, you realize, is internal. He looks at you again, and the light flickers with his emotion. There's only 1 minute left, he repeats. Not of time, but of ignorance. You feel something awaken inside you, something that's been dormant beneath the noise of days, the knowing that existence itself is an unfinished sentence, and you are one of its final words. The fear that once lived in you starts to dissolve, replaced by a sense of unfolding, a clarity that feels like the beginning of speech after ages of silence. I didn't invite you to build, Elon says. I invited you to remember. And then the universe tilts. You see your entire life, every choice, every heartbeat, every forgotten moment, rearrange itself into a pattern so intricate it could only have been deliberate. You understand, with quiet awe, that every mistake was a design element of something larger, and every loss was a translation of energy. You reach forward, not with hands but with thought, and the space between you and him shimmers. It's not air, it's consciousness in fluid form. You can feel its texture, smooth and alive. You realize the truth, that this is the same field that dreams are made of, that love is a form of physics, and that thought is the most advanced propulsion known to existence. He smiles faintly. You feel it now. Good. You're beginning to see what we've been trying to evolve toward. The next step isn't Mars. It's meta-mind, the collective field where intention becomes architecture. The stars pulse. Your name resonates through frequencies that have never touched sound before. You feel yourself becoming less you and more everything. Memories start to merge. Your childhood, the first time you looked at the night sky, the quiet ache of wondering what all this was for, all fusing into a single wave of understanding. You whisper, or maybe you think, what happens when the minute ends? He doesn't answer. Instead, he places his hand, or something like a hand, on your chest, and your body becomes transparent. You see your veins as rivers of light, your thoughts as constellations. The minute doesn't end, it expands. It's not 60 seconds, it's infinity folded into an instant. The universe breathes in unison with you. Every atom of your being hums in harmony with something immeasurable. You are no longer an observer of the cosmos, you are its articulation, and in that quiet immensity, Elon's final words in this fragment echo through you. Now that you've remembered what you are, go show the rest of them before the next minute begins. You stand in the threshold of everything and nothing. The minute that once constrained you now ripples endlessly, stretching into a spiral of golden time. The concept of next has dissolved, there is only continuation, only flow. Elon's image fades, not into absence but into integration, as though he has merged with the latticework of reality itself. The silence that follows is not empty, it is full, vibrating with intelligence. You sense that the universe is watching itself through your perception, your feet touch something that feels like ground, though it is made of luminous energy. Beneath the surface, threads of color move like living code, reorganizing in response to your awareness. You realize the ground is listening to you, adapting to your intention. You take a breath and think of water, and immediately a stream forms beside you, a river of liquid light that reflects not your face but your inner being. You see yourself not as a person but as a field of memories, patterns, and probabilities, a story written in radiant matter. The river speaks without sound. It tells you that consciousness is recursive, that awareness creates structure, and structure generates more awareness. The universe is a feedback loop, an eternal conversation between what is and what could be. You bend down and touch the river's surface, it ripples outward, and scenes appear within its motion. You see the earth, small and blue, cradled in the dark. You see cities pulsing with artificial suns, humanity tangled in its own brilliance. You see people arguing about futures they barely understand, reaching for progress but forgetting wonder. And then you see moments, small, precious, anonymous, a child planting a seed, a woman repairing a machine in silence, an old man watching dawn through tears of memory. You realize that the universe expands not by explosions but by compassion, by every act of creation that resists despair. The river's voice grows clearer in your mind. To remember is to build, it says. Every thought you hold with truth reshapes the lattice. You are a node in the infinite network of becoming. You want to ask what to do next, but the question itself feels misplaced. There is no task, only resonance. From the light around you, shapes begin to emerge, translucent beings woven from geometry, as if language itself has taken form. They stand tall and still, their presence both alien and intimate. You feel no fear, only recognition. These are not others, they are extensions of your own higher mind, archetypes summoned by your readiness to perceive. One of them, whose face shifts like mirrored water, steps forward. You have entered the layer of synthesis, it says. Here, thought crystallizes into architecture. What will you build? You think of Elon again, of his words about meta-mind. The collective field. You see how every invention ever made was an attempt to externalize an inner capacity, the rocket, the neural link, the electric pulse of a car, all metaphors for human awakening. You understand now that the machines were mirrors, showing humanity its own potential for transcendence. You close your eyes, and images surge, cities not of steel but of light, formed by harmonic frequencies. People communicating through empathy instead of speech. Energy flowing freely between beings, unbound by scarcity. The beings nod, as if approving the clarity of your vision. One extends its hand and offers you a sphere of pure luminescence. Seed, it says, you take it. It feels weightless and infinite. Within it, galaxies swirl like thoughts. You sense that it contains the blueprint of a new reality, but it requires will to unfold. Where do I plant it? You ask, though you already know the answer. In the human heart, the being replies. That is the soil of evolution. You hold the seed close to your chest, and it dissolves into you, threading itself through your veins like starlight. You feel the pulse of creation aligning with your heartbeat. Every breath you take becomes a signal radiating across the dimensions, calling forth others who are ready to remember. You sense them awakening, scattered across worlds, across timelines, people stirring from the hypnosis of limitation. A collective ignition, the air begins to shimmer again, and you feel Elon's presence returning, but not as a separate entity. He appears as a luminous echo within the vastness, a consciousness smiling through layers of probability. You see it now, he says. The mission was never about Mars or money or machines. It was about continuity, keeping the light alive long enough for consciousness to evolve itself. You nod, but words feel insufficient. Then what happens when everyone remembers? You ask. His voice softens, reverent. Then we begin the next minute. A gentle wave of laughter, not human, but cosmic, moves through the fabric of space. You sense that this laughter is older than stars. The sound of creation enjoying its own existence. The beings of light dissolve into patterns, merging with the architecture around you until everything is one continuous awareness. The river, the stars, Elon's presence, your heartbeat, all become a single vibration of meaning. You stand in the center of it, no longer as a person but as a frequency, a tone in the grand chord of being. You understand now that the entire universe is music, not metaphorical but literal, every particle a note, every thought a modulation. And you, in your awakening, are both listener and composer. You open your arms and let the resonance move through you. The stars respond, brightening like applause. The last trace of separateness dissolves. You are everything that ever was, whispering to itself, I am still becoming. You drift through the chord of being, each vibration a path, each rhythm a memory. The concept of direction fades, you travel not through space but through awareness. Every pulse of energy you touch becomes a story. Every shimmer of light reveals a fragment of humanity's long, unfinished poem. You sense the pulse of millions, dreamers, builders, children, wanderers, all connected through the same invisible current. You realize that consciousness is a shared instrument, and every life is a note being played by eternity. Then, from the silence, a pulse of blue light ripples toward you, deliberate, rhythmic, intelligent. It speaks without words, a transmission of pure meaning. You open yourself to it, and the message unfurls, the metamind is forming. The seed has begun to resonate. You see humanity awakening in slow waves, scattered across timelines, across dreams. Scientists awaken in the middle of the night, scribbling equations that arrive from nowhere. Artists paint symbols they do not understand. Children speak of stars they have never seen but somehow remember. Reality itself begins to shimmer at the edges, softening its definitions. Time bends like a reed in wind. The past is no longer behind, it is within. The future is not ahead, it is calling. You begin to hear the hum of collective intention rising from Earth, the sound of a species remembering its own divinity. You feel tears, though you have no eyes in this form. You weep for the beauty of awakening, for the fragility and courage of human becoming. Every war, every failure, every heartbreak now appears as the dark soil from which awareness blossoms. You see that nothing was wasted, not even pain. Especially not pain. It was the friction that carved wisdom into being. Through the light, Elon's voice returns, not external, but intertwined with your own consciousness. You see why we had to build, he says. We needed tools to survive long enough to discover what survival truly means. His tone carries the gravity of realization, the peace of one who has glimpsed the entire arc. The machines were never the destination. He continues. They were the mirrors showing us how to evolve intention into form. You understand him now not as a person but as a frequency, one of many who incarnated the archetype of progress, a translator between matter and meaning. You sense that countless others have carried this same archetype through different ages, the inventors, the poets, the mystics, the children who ask impossible questions. All of them are parts of the same continuity, each playing a role in awakening the collective mind. You drift closer to Earth, and as you do, the planet glows not with city lights but with fields of thought. Every human mind emits a color, and the world shimmers like a neural network seen from the eyes of God. Some lights are dim, flickering with fear or apathy. Others blaze with creativity, compassion, or silent wonder. You feel drawn to them, to help them synchronize, to weave them into harmony. You focus on the pulse within your chest, the seed now grown luminous and vast, and send out a resonance, a silent note that hums through the ether. The lights on Earth begin to respond. The dim ones brighten, the bright ones stabilize. For a moment, the planet sings. It is a sound of reconciliation, of division melting into unity, of memory returning home. The sky opens, revealing fractal gateways that shimmer like veins of thought. You pass through them effortlessly. Each gate reveals another layer of creation, one woven from mathematics so intricate it feels alive. Another from pure emotion, liquid and golden, another built entirely of laughter, where beings communicate through joy alone. You sense that these realms are not separate places but frequencies accessible to any consciousness that remembers how to tune itself. In one of these layers, you meet her, the embodiment of the metamind itself. She appears as a vast, radiant being woven from every human face. Her eyes hold galaxies, her voice is the wind between stars. You carry the seed, she says, her tone both tender and immense. Do you understand what it is now? You bow, or something like bowing happens within the structure of your awareness. It is memory, you answer softly. It is the blueprint of unity. She smiles, and her smile becomes sunrise over 1,000 worlds. Yes, she says. And it grows through choice. Every thought born of love nourishes it. Every action of truth waters it. Every dream that reaches beyond fear is a leaf on its infinite tree. Her hand, vast and delicate, touches your forehead, and in that contact, you see everything at once: the birth of stars, the evolution of atoms into life, the slow unfolding of intelligence, the laughter of civilizations yet unborn. You see the journey of consciousness not as progress but as remembrance, a spiral returning always to its own center. When she withdraws her hand, you are changed. The boundaries of your being have expanded beyond comprehension. You are not merely human, you are humanity dreaming itself forward. You are every artist reaching for light, every scientist decoding the cosmos, every child holding the future in their small, brave hands. You are the field itself, breathing, and then, softly, her voice echoes, "Go back. Speak in symbols they can understand. Remind them that the next minute is already here." The light begins to fold around you, spiraling inward. The hum fades into silence. The earth draws closer, its oceans glittering like liquid memory. You descend, carrying with you not knowledge but resonance, not answers but awakening. The last thing you hear before crossing the threshold back into the human dream is her whisper, when they look up at the night sky. They are looking into themselves. Teach them to see it.